If you're not comfortable working with plumbing, I'd advise you to call a professional or somebody that knows what they're doing to help you. This video is about changing a vanity, which I have the vanity here. And I have another video similar to changing a vanity. So you can search and you can watch that movie or video if you like the way I explain everything. And so I had these on there, but I don't really like this because I like it to have a male fitting, so you can always change the female out. And the reason being is that the female always has a washer, and if you have this is more of a fixed plan, that way. So I had to change this. It had this, but I guess he didn't have the pieces, or this is what he had. But I don't like this because once you take this off, it never reseals correctly. And most of the faucets use this 3/8 inch anyhow. So this is a SharkBite, same as this. And the way I got it off was easy. So right here, you just put it on here, and I have the water on, so I'm not going to show you, but you see, you just put it like that, and then you just kind of grab it like this, and this piece releases in a little bit, and then you can kind of pull it off. And they're really nice. I mean, other plumbers don't swear by them, but this looked pretty old, so obviously it worked. It looked like it's been there for a while. SharkBite fitting. Looks like it's been there since they put it in there, since they came out with SharkBite fittings. So it wasn't leaking. That wasn't the part that was leaking. The part that was leaking was the bowl. The sink settled, and then on the top where the tape putty goes, where the plumber's putty goes, it settled and it went up in the sink, and water was escaping in there. So now this is gonna have to come lower because I measured the whole vanity itself, and then I took the measurement of the thing, and then I marked it right here, and that's right where the drain is going. And I can show you how I came up with this measurement. So how I came up with this top measurement is I measured the bottom from the top, because sometimes it has this and you have no choice but to cut holes out, and I can't cut hole out for this drain yet unless I fix it. So I measured top from bottom to this, and then I got that measurement. And how I got this measurement was I came over here. I didn't measure the plate because this goes on top of the vanity, right? So to get a kind of rough measurement, I went from here to the drain, and I came up with 7, 6.5, 7, and 6 3/4. So I came over here and I measured 6 3/4, 6.5. So I have room to play with. You know what I mean? And then that comes right there. So now I gotta get my drain, and I gotta come over top like this a little bit, over top of the line, because I have a lot of play. So I have to bring it all the way at least to right here. So I'm gonna have to split my differences and go from right here to right here. So I'm gonna have to cut it like right there. So I cut it. I'm gonna cut it here and re-glue it. And I have this is a or a water pipe reamer, drain pipe reamer. So you see, I kind of got the middle piece out, what was in there, and it's all over the place. So what it is just you stick it right here and you just open up the pipe. That way you can fit it back on. You can cut it and reuse this. But what I'm going to do is I got this. I just took this up finger tight just so I can drain it. You know, and it's almost drained now. Because when I close the drawer is going to be hitting this. So I need to cut it back about, you know, so much. And then I'm going to put it on just because this is 2 inches and that's what I have to spare. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this off and show you how I do that by hitting this. I'm going to mark it just to see how much I really have to take off. I'm going to mark it right here. And then what I do is kind of just have it flush like that. And then I just push back on it. Just kind of, you got to give it some force. But right here, just close it like that. Just push back on it. And just yank it off. Just like that. So I'm going to cut it. So I get a bowl or something to catch the water. So I'm going to measure that. Measure this like 1 inch. And then I'm going to cut it off like right here. And what I'm using is this. But you can buy something smaller. You back this up by boop boop, back it up. Put the 2 wheels on and like that. So I'm going to go around once, twice, and I'm going to tighten it up once, twice, and I'm going to tighten it up a little bit more. And as you can see, it's cutting. The copper is soft. And then do it again until it breaks like that. Then you take it off. And then what I'm gonna do is close this valve. So I didn't have sandpaper. What you really use is this. And it really rips up the pipe, and that's what you want. So I guess you could use really gritty sandpaper. But this is for a 1/2 inch. And this is a 3/8 pipe, so I made it work. And for the inside, you have this one. This one. For the inside. But this, again, I bought the wrong one. And I use this for 3/8, but I kind of make it work for me. I need to get the 3/8 one and not the 1/2 inch one. Or I think this is 3/4. That's what they say. But this is for the 1/2 inch pipe. Fittings. This is for the fittings. And you get this one is for the pipe itself. But I bought the 3/4 one. So now that that's clean, this ensures a better seal. So you just kind of put it in, and you need room because it bites. So it goes all the way in now, and that's what I want. You know, all the way in that way. You know, I have 2 inches, so my finger is 2 inches. So now I can kind of, that little bit right there, the 1/2 inch, I can kind of keep it off the wall, and the actual piece itself will cover it. And I'll show you guys that after I cut this pipe and glue this freshly bit on. And I think I need to push it back so I can show you that, how I use the reaming tool to open up the pipe again to kind of re-glue it so I can save pieces. How this bit works is that, you see I cut it off. I cut everything off, and now, you know, I opened it up with the bit, and now I can just put it back on. and I saved myself some money. You see, right there. So now I dry fit it, and then I'll mark it and see how much went in, and then I'll just do that, and I'll do this too just to make sure that it's nice and level, and then I'll just take it off. I'll glue it with some, this is for PVC. Now if you're doing water with this plastic, this would be CPVC. So I don't quite know the difference, but I just know that that's how it works. And I think this is for CPVC, and so you can use the primer, but you just need different cement. The cement melts the plastic together. So I'll just take it off. It ate pretty much a lot, so I'll probably get it on a little bit better. So what I'm going to do is put the primer on first. Let me open them up. So, just so I don't get it on everything, you want to take this, take that like that, and you want to, without dripping on everything, you just want to kind of go like this. And the same goes with this piece. You want to do the inside like this. This kind of just like cleans it, and you know, stuff like that. And then you want to take the cement and just go around like that. Ensure that it's all covered nice, and if you don't have enough, that's why you do this as well. So you make sure that it's enough, and you kind of just want to put it on. Just squeeze it like that, and you know, just hold it there for, you know, and then it's going to all dry really nicely. And then after, I count a lot just because I'm like that. You know, I want to make sure before I let it go, I want to make sure nothing's going to push it back out. So, but it dries pretty quickly, so like right now I can let it go and it's dry. I guess if I hit into it, maybe it might crack, but it's dry enough to where it's not going to come back out. And you can see the buildup, so it ensured a nice seal. And then now I'm just going to put the vanity in and see if I have to maybe cut this pipe off and do the same thing to this, and I'll show you how this works. So what I did was, for each one I measured from here to there, and then from here to there, and then I just put it 1, 2, 3 for each one. And I don't have the circular thing, so I'm just going to cut a square out big enough to fit all of this. And obviously I gotta cut that bigger, so I might just cut a whole box out, you know, just because this has to be showing as well. So I might have to measure that out and cut that down here. But it's really easy, it's just marking everything. You know, normally I would use a circular thing, but this is just so difficult. I had to move the pipe down, and now I need to move the pipe back, and it's just You know, it's just hard to keep it clean because this needs to be open just in case it starts leaking. She can see it. Because normally it would be glued like this, but I don't know why he would put the P pipe inside of the wall. So I'm gonna cut this out, and so now I got this hole cut out like that. I'm cutting this hole out, and I should have bought another battery. That way I can keep one charging while I'm using one. Or I should have just charged this one up fully charged. So it turns out to be nice. Maybe the battery's a little smaller than it should be. 12 volt. It's the Warrior from Harbor Freight. So now I gotta wait until it charges a little bit so I can finish cutting. Unless I can use the drywall cutter. But I gotta wait, and I gotta figure out what I can do in the meantime. Because of this, I wasn't able to put the square exactly where I wanted it. See, this is the center of the pipe, so I'm going to have to move the pipe over a little bit. So what I'm going to do is see it straight up and down, so I can move the pipe a little bit, you see? But it's just in the wall, in the way of the drywall, so I just have to cut it a little bit. Just so I can move it over and I can still put it in. You know what I mean? It's going to be like that, but what can I do? So for now, I'm going to mark the studs and get the stud finder and see where the studs are, so I can put screws into this. 1, 2. So I'm going to see where the studs are, and I'm going to show you how I find the studs and make sure that it's 100%. I have the electric stud finder, which is this right here, the electric stud finder. So yeah, and I marked the studs, and just to be at 100%, this is a magnet. So I go like this just to make sure that it's a stud. You know, wherever the stud is, find the stud first, or what you think the stud is, and it's a magnet. So basically, to be 100%, because sometimes this machine, it reads pipes. You don't want to be sticking into a pipe. So see, that's a stud. And see, let's see right here. Let's see. And that's a stud. Because if it was a pipe, the magnet's not that strong to grab a pipe anyhow. So that's how. And then another way you can measure it, they're normally 16 inches apart or 24 inches apart. No less, no more. Unless there's like a plug or something, but it's not really a thing. If these two, this and the stud buddy, doesn't find it, you can always measure from the line to the line. It's normally, see, the stud finder's right there, the stud buddy, so they put the screws in the middle. 24 on center. Perfect. And this is a center finder. So, you know, center finder. And center to center is 24 on center. So that's good. So I'll sink my 2 screws in here and measure this and see 24 inches. So maybe the 24-inch mark is right here or something. Quick update is the holes wouldn't line up. They were just off so I had to take off this piece and that piece, which I'm doing now. And I'm going to use the cutter to make this straight as best as I can, and that way it butts up against the wall better. And it was just over here, and I didn't want to bend the pipes too much, especially this one, because I have already had to bend it a little bit. But now I'm just going to do that, cut that off. I'll show you. And then I'll come back when I put it in and everything is in. So the problem is now that it's too much of a gap. So that just to get that little lip, I marked it right here, and I'm just gonna cut that little one. Now we're talking. So what I do now is I still have to throw that piece on and then put the faucet in and the drain. So I really just want to show you how I can adjust this backwards, but I may not need to. We'll see, because I have another video about installing a vanity. So I'm just going to do that, throw the top on, you know, check everything out, hook up the faucet, and I'll be back with that part if I gotta change the drain. So you can see how it's supposed to work. Like as you're driving in a screw, and it reams it out. It just melts it away. And you kind of have to cut, I didn't cut the pipe right to that, but you kind of get the idea. You just want to kind of not get this part, but you want to get the old pipe out, and it works. See? Gets it out to here, and then I can have this open. I'll re-glue it and dry fit it first. So after all said and done, this is leaking here. Sometimes it's not 100%. I put Teflon tape, so because it was leaking here, but now it's leaking here and it's leaking on the top. So I'm gonna put plumber's putty on the top and plumber's putty here, and the Teflon tape I'm gonna make it refresh, and it should stop the leaking. You see the little wetness here. So to fix this, I used plumber's putty. So I put plumber's putty up here, and I made it Play-Doh style, so I kind of stuffed it up there, rolled it around, and stuffed it up there. I did it with my hands, 2 hands together. And then I kind of just stuffed it up there so it would get up there as well. And then for this, I put plumber's tape around it, and I put plumber's putty through here as well, so nothing's going to come through the threads because there's tape, and then nothing's going to come through the gaps and between the washer because there's plumber's putty. So this acts like a washer, and the tape acts like a washer, and there's no more leaking. So let me tighten it back up and run the test again, and that should be it. So that's the finished product, and there's a washer here. It's like a washer there, and you got the tape, and yeah, it's all gunked in there because there's no pressure. So that's why this stuff works good. And the way I test it is that I fill it up, and then I let the water, you know, grab all of the walls of the pipe. That way it's kind of pressurized, and now there's absolutely nothing that I see compared to before. I've seen some water come through here and there. Now I don't see anything. So yeah, that's how you do the plumbing for a vanity if you have to change it. This is 2-inch pipe, so I only have a 2-inch reamer, but I need to get the rest of them, the whole set, but I don't have that yet. And yeah, there you go. And that's not leaking. Perfect. These aren't leaking. So everything's perfect. And if you're ever doing this style vanity with these drawers, all you do is you see how it's up like that, so you kind of push this down and you push this side up, and then you wiggle it out because these are locking so the drawers doesn't come out. So that's how you get them out. But yeah.